Yeah, let go.
Yep. 3, 2, 1, go.
It's morning rush hour at the Hobbses' home in the marginal Central Coast seat of Debelle.
I can't drink it like that.
While Dad Ricky and Mum Gillian get ready for work, their kids Ivy, Micah and Aurora are about to start their first day at private school after finishing up at their local public school.
We're so proud of the kids. They're so resilient. They're really excited about starting a new school. Say, first day of school!
Private school fees will cost the family about $17,000 this year.
Concentration.
Do you think your teacher's going to be doing some songs on the guitar today? Yeah.
To make ends meet, Gillian has taken on extra shifts as a bookkeeper, and the family's cancelled renovations and a planned overseas holiday.
For us as a family, that's meant, really digging into the budget and seeing what things can give, what things, a necessity for survival.
It's a choice more Australians are making. In the 70s, 4% of students went to private schools. Today, it's 35% of Australian kids and growing fast.
If we look at the OECD, the average is about 10 or 11% of students going to non-governmental schools. So we have almost 4 times more kids in non-governmental schools compared to the OECD on average.
We know that private school has a lot more resources they can offer to the staff and the admin staff, the teachers, and they have a lot more to offer our kids.
See ya. While record numbers of families are choosing private school, the nation is spending more on all schools than ever before, with total funding surging from $40 billion in 2011 to $60 billion last financial year.
Nearest.
Despite that investment, Australia has declined in global academic rankings for 20 years.
The education unions said if you just put enough money, all these problems will be fixed. Well, we've put more money, more than imaginable, 113% increase in school funding, and yet our international rankings have decreased.
Over the past decade, we have seen a fundamental failure led by the Morrison government in terms of not delivering on the recommendations of the Gonski review.
The key Gonski recommendation, that public schools receive all the funding they need to meet minimum quality standards, won't be met until 2029.
We see a shortfall of $6.5 billion for public schools and yet a series of special deals that amount to over $10 billion for private schools.
How are you, Mark? Good, how are you? I'm very well, good to see you.
More resources, more opportunity in life, better classroom results in the schools that need it most.
The last Labor leader to run a campaign promising to cut private school funding was Mark Latham in 2004, and the ALP was soundly beaten.
Literacy. The Education Minister, Julia Gillard's pledged that no school will receive less money.
This is not about taking money away from schools.
Since then, Labor's avoided taking that risk.
Bright, he's intelligent.
Labor supports parental choice. We're very happy for parents to choose the type of education that best suits their child.
Scott Morrison has...
And at this election, it's not pledging to reassign any funding. It's promising $430 million to assist kids that fell behind during COVID. But its signature policy of funding every public school to its minimum standard is an aspiration, not a promise.
It's not fair that this government has put Catholic and independent schools on track to receive their fair funding while leaving public schools behind.
Fixing public school funding cannot be aspirational. It absolutely must be the priority of the incoming government post the federal election.
If you look at the increase in funding in the last 8 or 9 years, 113% increase in funding to the government sector and 86% increase into the non-government sector. So we are funding all schools.
I really like the school that I go to. The teachers at Hume Central are just really dedicated. Everyone despite where you live, your ethnic background, your religious background, everyone deserves a proper education.
In Melbourne, 14-year-old Soumya Gillard is proud to attend her local public school, Hume Central Secondary College. But the Year 9 student would love to see it receive more support.
It's like a racetrack, you know. If we were to put public school kids and private school kids on a level playing field, and then let's say allow the private school kid to step, let's say a couple meters forward. When you start the race, it's already going to be imbalanced.
Public schools are great, teachers are great, all the teachers are highly qualified.
How are you?
Soumya's mother, Sarita, works in aged care, while her father is a nurse at the Alfred Hospital.
Yeah, how was your day?
My day was good.
Definitely, most of the parents, they can't afford to send their kids in private school.
If we received more funding, let's say, the school nurse could be able to come in for more than just one time a week. And our libraries could be filled up with more books.
Experts worry public schools will continue to lose students unless the federal government accelerates the timeline to meet minimum requirements. Every student that leaves means more money and momentum flowing to independent or Catholic schools.
We also have to understand that these public schools across the country are taking care of 80 to 85% of our most disadvantaged students, including the Indigenous children here.
The federal government claims the funding shortfall in the public sector is the fault of the states, which fund 80% of public schools. That split is reversed for private schools.
We are ensuring that parents have got real choice. The fastest growing school system right now is very low fee Catholic education, which I think is lovely. It's an education based on faith and values.
Year 2 kids being asked to assess statues as to whether or not they're racist in today's context.
The government's going into the campaign without Education Minister Alan Tudge. He's been fiercely prosecuting the government's case that Australia's plunging international rankings are not due to a lack of spending on public schools, but problems with the national curriculum.
Making sure that our kids are taught the right things about Australia in our schools and that our education curricula is not sold out to that left-wing agenda.
The acting Education Minister, Stuart Robert, is also standing by a comment calling out dud teachers. His aspiration is that from 2023, teachers who fail literacy and numeracy will no longer be allowed in the classroom.
I didn't call teachers in the public system duds at all. I made the point that 10% of our teachers are failing the basic literacy and numeracy exam, and they have been from 2017. That's why I called out this 10% issue.
Having an acting education minister who calls public teachers duds doesn't help keep highly experienced, highly competent people in the classroom.
3, 2, 1, let's go! Competition!
It'll be back in the homes of voters like the Hobbs and the Gimarays to decide whether those concerns resonate for them as they consider their kids' futures at their schools.
I think it's totally worth it for them to be going to a school that we're really happy with. It's a sacrifice that we're willing to make.
Thinking about getting more funding makes me really happy, but I know that it's going to take a lot of fighting and it's going to take a lot of convincing to get to that point.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.